Hey everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Today I'm going to be doing a installation video on these StrongArm lift struts for my 1997 Toyota 4Runner. The process I'm going to show should apply to all third generation 4Runners, and these particular struts are from a company called Lift Supports Depot. I ordered them through Amazon, but the company that sells them is Lift Supports Depot, and I'll have a link in the description to these as well in case you need to buy some yourself. So the reason I'm replacing this is because my hatch on the 4Runner is starting to fall down, and I shouldn't say starting because it's been doing it for a while, and I've just kind of neglected to replace these because I don't drive the truck very much. Basically what it does, whenever you open the hatch, it won't open by itself anywhere near at all. And whenever you open it up fully using your arm and you let go, it will fall back down pretty quickly to about the halfway position. So if you're a taller person like me, or even if you're a short person at this point with how far mine falls down, it'll hit you in the head. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the back of the truck, just give you an idea of how bad the hatch is, in case you're curious, and I'm going to show you how to install these new parts. Alrighty, so I have the hatch kind of popped partway open just so I can lift it easily for on-camera purposes, but you can already tell if it's sitting in this position, your struts are probably in pretty bad shape. But if I lift it all the way up, which I can still do with one hand, but lift it all the way, stops, and let it go, you can see the struts compressing, and if you take a look, it falls down pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and prop this thing up or get a helper, one of the two. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to prop it up very easily, so we'll see. And I'll show you how to replace the struts. Alrighty, before we start the replacement process, I just want to show you my little trunk strut changing assistant that I have set up here. So I have a 6-foot ladder with some towels stacked up on it. This 4Runner is lifted, so you may not need as many towels as I have, but just to give you an idea of what you may need, 6-foot ladder, a few towels on top, and you should be good. I have the hatch tensioned pretty tight in the up position with the towels, but I do still have the ability to pull it down some. It has some give, so that'll be key in getting the pins out that hold the struts in place. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but basically what you need to do is jiggle the hatch up and down a little bit in order to relieve any tension on those pins to pop them out of place. So I'll go over that a little bit more in more detail as we go through the process, but just wanted to show you how to get started. Alrighty, so the first step in popping off these trunk struts is removing the Eclipse. There's one on the top, one on the bottom on my particular truck, and I can't swear that this was the factory orientation because it's been a long time since I replaced these struts. But the E-clip on the top, on the driver's side, is faced out, and the one on the bottom on the driver's side is faced in. And it looks like the passenger side is the exact reverse of that. You'll want to repeat whatever orientation you have currently working for you. That's just the safest bet for you to go with. In order to pop off the Eclipse, all you need to do is take a small flat blade screwdriver and Eclipse removal tool and get inside the E-clip and kind of pop it out of place. It's pretty self-explanatory once you take a look at it. And once you have the top one and the bottom one out of place, you should be able to take the pins out. So I'm going to go set aside my 2 Eclipse that I took out and show you in a second how to take the pins out. Alrighty, so to remove the pins, you can see the pin is hanging partially out. That's because I removed it off camera, but you're going to need a little pin punch. That's the easiest way to do it, as well as a hammer. Just start the pin punch on the end of the pin, tap, 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 pin will come out, and you're going to need to repeat that on the top and the bottom. And once you've done that, the strut should be free. So I'm going to go ahead and knock off the bottom, make sure everything goes as planned, and I'll come and report back on installing the new strut. Alright, so you can see I have the strut taken off the truck now. Once you knock the pins out, it's a pretty simple thing. It should just kind of wheedle its way right off. Might have a little bit of resistance up here at the top if you have the factory bushing or some aftermarket little nylon spacers like I have, but it should come out pretty easy. So just want to go over hardware orientation before we put everything back together, just so you're aware. I have aftermarket nylon spacer up here to replace the factory bushing. The factory bushings wear out, they're not sold individually, and the OEM support struts are a few $100s a pop. So if you're putting on aftermarket struts and you can't reuse your factory bushing, which you more than likely can't, then you're going to want to use some nylon spacers. There's details on those on the 4Runner forums. I replaced these years and years ago, probably over 10 years ago, and they're still good, so I'm going to keep on reusing them. In order to install them into the new strut, all you have to do, the pin's already going to be removed, and the spacers are already going to be removed because the outside of the spacer rides on the inside of the bracket that's bolted onto the truck, and the inside of the spacer rides over the pin. You can see they're pretty snug, and in my case, I don't just have a spacer, I have a spacer and a nylon washer. Because I think whenever I did this originally, I used just a stock length spacer, not cut down or filed down or anything, and took up the extra space with the washer. So, going to go ahead and whenever I install on a truck, going to slip these through the bracket, going to stick the lift strut over these, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the pin through, and we're going to be all good to go. On the bottom, we don't have any aftermarket hardware, we just have the OEM stuff. So you have the pin and a spring washer. The spring washer sits on the inboard side of the strut, so towards the center of the truck, and then the pin goes through the bracket that's bolted onto the truck and locks everything in place. And again, once everything's put back together, you put the Eclipse on and that strut's reinstalled. So I'm going to go ahead, put this one new strut back on the truck. I will swap out the other one off camera, and I'll show you what the new support struts can do. All right, so I have the trunk struts replaced now, and as you can see, if I lift the trunk, it opens itself just fine. So a couple things I wanted to mention before I sign off the video. You're definitely going to need two people to do this job. I didn't remember exactly what it entailed, but as I got further and further into it, you need another person to help you kind of torque the trunk and push up the trunk while it's in its uppermost position in order to get the bottom pin aligned or the top pin aligned, depending on which one you start with. I like to start with the top one, put the top back first, and put the bottom back. But whenever you're putting that bottom pin back, you're going to need somebody to lift the trunk up, the hatch up, and help you lift it up and down to get the pin aligned and everything. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward job. Like I said, you just have to pop off your Eclipse, push out the pins, take the struts off along with the bushings, keep everything in order, and in reassembly is just the reverse. You put your bushings back in, you put your pins back in, and then once you've gotten everything lined up and reinstalled, you put your Eclipse back on to secure everything. So, super, super simple, including filming. I probably spent 45 minutes doing this, and that's refiguring out everything from a long, long time ago, which is the last time I did it. Should be something very, very doable for two people in a garage. So, with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.